Monday. It is the last full week of school. We have 5 full days left, and today is going to be camping day. So this week I thought I would, sorry, I'm just looking in the mirror to make sure my hair is not falling out, which it is. We're going to make sure that I bring you along this week and just kind of share some of the fun things we're doing sporadically throughout. Last night I made these little s'more bags that look like this. That I'm going to give students this afternoon after specials. We'll come in, read a little camping story, and they can eat their little snack before we do our activities for the day. So I don't really do anything too crazy for these theme days, but I basically follow along this packet right here. It's my countdown to summer packet. It has 6 full days of activities for every single subject area. So we just kind of follow along that so we keep our regular structure and routine so things aren't too crazy, and just fill it in with some fun themed things. So I'm gonna get some stuff ready for today, and then I'll pop in a little later and kind of share what we did for camping day. Hello from my office at home. Like my bare empty shelf. Parker just installed those a couple weeks ago, and I still have yet to put anything on that one. Anyway, I'm home now, surprise, surprise, because I, for the first time in a while, left after school, immediately after school. But then I realized that I never filled you in on what we did today. So I thought I would do that now because I have my slides at home and I can show you what we did for camping day. All right, while I pull that up, I was just seeing over on my computer here that the last poll, I did a poll a couple weeks ago, and I just asked what everybody plans to do over the summer. So I said, this summer, are you looking forward to fully unplugging and recharging? That was number 1. Getting a head start on next year's plan, that was number 2. And number 3 was learning new strategies or skills. And then there was also all of the above. And the answers were not super surprising. Actually, I was a little surprised because almost 60% of people said all of the above. And then most people said fully unplugging. Well, after that, most people said fully unplugging and recharging. And then it was getting a head start on next year's plans. And then 6% of people said learning new strategies or skills. So just a fun way to see what you are planning to do this summer. And I guess I would agree with you, because I think if I saw this poll, I would also say all of the above. And I would probably say it in that percentage, mostly unplugging and recharging, then a little bit of getting ready for next year, and then if I can, sprinkle in a little bit of learning new strategies and skills for the year. So I guess that makes sense. Okay, I pulled up my camping slides. Let me show you what we did. We have a new little camping theme for our background, which students were very surprised about. And they're like, what's going on today? Because I didn't tell them anything about this. Now, like I said, you're going to see pretty quickly that even though we call it camping day and we do have some fun things mixed in, it is not super campy. We're just not doing fun stuff all day. As the week progresses, we will do more and more fun. We have our lunch choices and morning meeting per usual. And this is where our morning message is, where I explain what we are doing today. And then we always start off our Monday with how was your weekend? Then we went into foundations. Now I mentioned this last week, but I was able to finish up unit 14, which is just a review unit. So I told students that in phonics this week, we are going to review everything we've learned so far this year. So we did our sounds, some trick words, and each day I have students take out their whiteboard and we do a word chain. So we have lunch, bunch, bench, and bend. They had to do that. And then instead of just coming up to the board, I actually had everybody write these on their whiteboard too and mark it up. So they had, and then I would pick one student to come up for each word and mark it up too. So we had the star over the double L for the floss rule, a box around any glued sounds, and then we have our digraphs underlined and our blends underlined. Then we played a closed syllable hunt, which is something we've played before. So we reviewed a closed syllable. We did learn 2 new trick words, water and called, and we practiced reading and writing them. And then we had our first little camping phonics assignment. And this really is light on the camping. In my countdown to summer unit, there is another phonics activity that they could have done that's more camping themed, but we didn't have time for it. So this was just like a print and play one. So it's just a little end of year passage. So it's pretty tricky. And students got highlighters and they had to read about the king and queen going for a little walk. And they had to highlight all of the vowel teams that they found. So then we read it aloud together, they read it to themselves, and then drew a picture of what it says. This was definitely a challenge because it's an end of the year passage for them. Then for our movement break, we did a little forest chase. And for writing today, instead of doing anything camping related, our principal is actually retiring at the end of this year. So we all made cards for her that she's going to get at her retirement party. All right, to kick off math, we started with our usual countdown videos. So some sort of skip counting by Scratch Garden. We did calendar per usual. And then for our math warm-ups, I pulled out, these are my logic puzzles. I love these, and they're like a fun kind of end of the year thing to do. So this one's combinations and patterns. So they had to complete the pattern and combine the shapes. And then we also had an analogy. So triangle is to 3 as pentagon is to 5. So just a fun little warm-up to see how they do. And then this is our hands-on game for the math unit. So this is called like Gone Fishing or something. And all students have to do is they roll a dice. So they collect the fish and then they add up what they got. And there's a little recording sheet for them to record the sum and compare. And then I had them, whoever had the most gets to keep their fish and whoever had the least puts them back. And they just keep playing until the game is over. So that was fun. And then we did a little book it, which my kids are loving these days. I don't really bring up book it until the end of the year. So it's a lot of fun now for them. After lunch and recess, we had win. For win every day this week, I'm doing a must do and a may do, and the writing portion is going to be the must do. So for camping day, it was how to, there's a bunch of them, how to make a fire, how to catch a fish. So they picked one of the how-to prompts and they had to write 3 steps with a picture to match. And then they could go to any of their fun activities on their iPad. We had PE for our specials. And then after PE, when they came in, this is when they got their fun little s'mores bag. They loved it. They said it finally felt like camping. My bad. And then we watched Camping Spree with Mr. McGee as they ate their little snack. And then they had to do a retell. So beginning, middle, and end, where they would do that quick little retell for about 10 minutes. And then instead of real reading centers, they did 10 minutes on Lexia. And then we all got together. And each day this week, we have a fun directed drawing that we're going to do based on the theme. So how to draw camping was ours today. So we all spread out around the room and we illustrated our own little camping scene. So as you can see, nothing too crazy. I didn't bring in tents or anything. I didn't bring in flashlights. We actually could have used flashlights. I should have thought about that. I think I did this last year. During the reading centers at the end of the day, we now do Lexia. I believe last year we didn't do Lexia and we kind of were supposed to do 10 minutes of it every day. So I'm pretty sure last year I had students get books with a partner and they could do flashlight reading, which kind of went with camping. So that was cute as a fun little way to kind of add that in. So tomorrow is going to be Friendship Day. I will take you along. My students also won a little prize last week where they could bring in stuffed animals. So they're going to bring in stuffies tomorrow and they'll get to take that around for Friendship Day. And their little snack tomorrow they're going to get is a clementine. And it's going to say, "Aren't you glad you are my friend?" So it'll be cute. But I'll check in later and I'll pop in other times this week. Bye. Good morning, happy Thursday. Today is ice cream day on the official countdown to summer. I think the last time I checked in with you was Monday. It was camping day. So the 2 days you missed were Friendship Day on Tuesday and yesterday was Memories Day. So I will share with you a little bit about what we did each day and then I will give you a little rundown of what we're doing today for ice cream day and we'll call it a video. All right, so some highlights from the last 2 days. On Friendship Day, it also happened to coincide with the day that my kids got to bring in a stuffed animal. So they filled up like their light chart, like their light bulb chart about a week ago. And so they chose for a party to bring in a stuffed animal and have a little movie party. So for Friendship Day, they basically got to carry their stuffed animal around with them all day, do the activities with their friends. And then we did like a little sort about how to be a good friend and some examples of being a good friend and not being a good friend. They had to write down a time that they were a great friend. And then they really just got to play games. And we did this like let's blend friend activity in phonics. It looks like this right here, where they are rolling dice and identifying beginning blends. Just a bunch of stuff with friends. And at the end of the day, we actually just watched a little Lilo and Stitch all cozied up on the rug with the smartboard. So that was fun and cute. And then for Memory Day, we finished up our memory books, which was nice. I brought in memory munchkins. Oh, and then like there's a snack for each one. So I think I told you on camping day, I brought in the s'mores. On Friendship Day, I brought in clementines with a little note that said, "Orange, you glad to be my friend?" And then yesterday for Memory Day, I brought in munchkins. And so before I gave everybody their little memory munchkin, they had to share their favorite memory of the year. So they finished that up. We learned a little bit about the brain in our memories and we played some time memory. So we reviewed telling time to the hour and half hour, and then we played memory with friends. Here's a couple pictures of that. So fun days were had by all. Today is ice cream day, so I'm going to share a little bit about that, but also this morning we actually have 2 candidates coming in for a job interview. So for the first grade team, I'm happy to say that I will be here next year. If you followed along about a month or 2 ago, my job was a little bit up in the air with some budget things, but then with the budget going through and then with just changes that kind of happened towards the end of the year, my job is secure. And we also have to hire for a year-long position for first grade. So this morning we have 2 model lessons. 2 great candidates are coming in to kind of share their model lesson with us so we can make a decision about that, which I'm excited for. And then we have some fun ice cream themed activities. I also brought in some ice cream sandwiches that they will have at the end of the day. So let me show you some of those fun things we're doing and let's go. All right, so we have our ice cream background for the day. Students have been able to come in each day and try to guess kind of what the theme for the day is going to be with the background. So ice cream day for today, our lunch choices. And then since it's yoga break Thursday, they're actually going to do a would you rather, and they show a couple different ice cream flavors and then a different move that you're supposed to do for which one that you like. So this is about a 7-minute long video, but they loved it. For phonics, I don't know if I shared this already, but we are doing the slide 14 or unit 14 rather, which is just review. So we are still doing this every single day until next week. I just want to make sure students are reviewing all those phonics skills before we go off to 2nd grade. And each day they get their whiteboard, they start by doing a word chain. So we have quit, pit, spit, spin, and spine. And then they are going to write the base word with the suffix, so classes, and then change the base word. So classes to glasses, sings to stings, thinking to thanking. And then this is kind of the activity that was in the ice cream day. So here we're gonna review the sound O-O and how it can make oo or and then we will read each one or look at each picture, and if it makes oo, we'll color it blue, and if it makes we'll color it yellow, and then they'll write a sentence with one of them at the bottom. We have our movement break, of course, and then after that, we actually need to start cleaning up the room. So meaning I need them to go through their desks. There's some magnet boards I need them to start cleaning up. There are some workbooks they need to take home. I'm going to, since today's Thursday, we have tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, I want to start doing it slowly so they don't just have a backpack full of things to take home on the last day. So we're going to start doing some of that today. And then we have a little bit of time during writing for anybody that didn't finish their memory book yesterday. They're going to do this, and everybody else will read with a friend. Now, math, I actually entirely switched up because one of the modeled lessons is going to be during math. So after we do calendar, I just found this cute little ice cream place value craft over on TPT. So I'm just going to have my students make this. We did have like an ice cream addition and subtraction game that I normally would play at this time, but it was a little difficult to have the sub explained for such a short time. So I'm just having them do this, and then they can go to IXL, and when I come back, we will play the ice cream game if I have time, but I'm not sure we will. So I plugged this in here just in case. I can link this down below in case you want to take a look at it. After lunch and recess, my students are doing their win. Now, win each day has looked the same throughout the week. This is basically when they're doing their main writing. So each day has been a different genre of writing, and it goes with the theme. So today they have to pick their favorite dessert, which dessert they would give 5 scoops, and they have to share their opinion and write down their reasons why. And when they complete that, they can go to a May-Do, which is any of these apps, and they can spread out quietly around the room. PE is our special, and then we come to reading. So each day, this is when I've been bringing in our fun little dessert. So when they come back from PE today, which will be good because they'll be hot and sweaty, they will get an ice cream sandwich, and we will listen to this book by Gail Gibbons. It's a nonfiction book, so I'll preview that first. And then I think we're just gonna do this together. I did print out one for everybody. So I think we'll kind of do it together. I'll put it on the board and they can write it down. We'll share what the main topic is, 3 things we learned, and then we'll see if we could identify any of these nonfiction text features in the story. So we'll do that together. For their reading center today, they're gonna do 10 minutes of Lexia, and then we will draw our cool ice cream. So that's basically the similar pattern that things have gone throughout the week. We are following our regular daily schedule, and we're just replacing some of those fun activities with some themed ones. So nothing too crazy. I really like to keep the structure as much as I can during these last weeks of school, these last days of school. Next Monday, which will be our last theme day, it's beach day. That day, since it's the last full day of school, we'll have a lot less structure. Students are going to bring in beach towels. You know, at that point, a lot of the stuff will be kind of cleaned up and put away. We'll be cleaning up. We'll be going outside with the other classrooms and playing musical beach towels. Like, we're gonna have a lot of fun things that day. And then on the last day of school, we have a couple activities where we'll read a book and write cards to each other and just spend those last hours kind of enjoying our time. And the last day is a half day. But for this last full week, it's still a long 5 days to get through. So I really try to keep, like I said, that structure, that predictability, all of that going for as long as I can. And then I kind of sprinkle in a little bit of cleaning and a little taking things off the walls, instead of doing it all at one time. So that's basically what our week looks like. Tomorrow is sports day, which works because it's also field day in the morning. For us, we only do field day for an hour and a half, so it's 9 to 10:30. And then I'm actually gonna be gone in the afternoon. My son over at the other school has his big showcase. They do a Comic-Con over in 4th grade. So he got to develop his own comic book and I get to go see it, which is really exciting. So I saved half of a personal day for that reason. So I'm gonna go see that. And then I come back and it's Monday and our half day. I can't get over it. It's crazy. So anyways, for sports day, some of the fun things we're doing, I have a little write the room. Really, field day is going to be a bunch of it. I have this little fun activity where students are going to throw little pom-poms into cups and they have to add and subtract. So we have some fun things going on tomorrow too. As always, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of all new videos. See you in the next one. Bye.